Number 1 on this list made the gun that won the West. In 2006, they turned off the lights, and the machines went silent forever. And number 2? Number 2 was the oldest gun maker in America, older than the Civil War. In 2020, it was auctioned off in pieces, like furniture at an estate sale. These are names your father knew, names stamped on the steel in your safe right now. And almost every one of them is dead. Some closed quietly, some went bankrupt, some had their names sold overseas so that the word on the barrel now comes from a factory an ocean away. The guns outlived the companies that built them. That is the strange, sad truth of this whole list. These are 12 great American gun companies that died. Let's count them down. Number 12. Merwin Hulbert. Almost nobody remembers this name. And that is the tragedy, because they made some of the finest revolvers in the history of the American West. Their guns had a nickel finish better than anyone else's. They opened with a clever twist of the frame that no other maker could match. Even Pat Garrett, the man who shot Billy the Kid, carried one. But fine work does not pay the bills. Bad investments and lawsuits bled the company dry. By 1896, Merwin Hulbert was liquidated, gone. A maker of some of the best revolvers ever built, erased so completely that most gunmen today have never heard the name. Number 11. Sharps. You know this gun even if you don't know the name. It was the Buffalo rifle, the one a hunter used to reach across half a mile of prairie. They called it Old Reliable. For 30 years, the Sharps was the most respected long-range rifle in America. But two things killed it. The great buffalo herds were slaughtered nearly to extinction, so the demand vanished. And Winchester's fast new repeating rifles made the slow single shot look like a relic. In 1881, the Sharps Rifle Company dissolved. The gun that tamed the plains could not survive the plains being tamed. Number 10. Parker Brothers. For 100 years, this was the finest shotgun made in America. Not one of the finest. The finest, a Parker, was the gun a wealthy man carried into the field and then handed down to his son. The craftsmanship was simply on another level. But the Great Depression crushed the market for expensive guns. In 1934, Parker was bought by Remington. The last true Parker was built around 1942. The most beautiful shotgun America ever made became a line item on another company's books, and then it was gone. Number 9. High Standard. If you shot a .22 target pistol in the middle of the last century, odds are it was a High Standard. They were superb, accurate, elegant, and trusted by champions. During the Second World War, High Standard was one of the Connecticut firms that armed the nation, but the target pistol business got harder every year. The original company faded through the 1980s until it was gone. The name was later revived far away in Texas, but the company that built those beautiful pistols in Connecticut was finished. Number 8. Iver Johnson. This is the gun that hung by 10 million kitchen doors. The plain, honest, affordable revolver that a working family could actually buy. Iver Johnson built safety into their guns before almost anyone else. Their revolver could be dropped, hammered down, and it would not fire. That was a genuine breakthrough. For decades, they were everywhere. And then, slowly, they were not. The American company changed hands, moved, shrank, and finally faded out. The everyman's revolver simply stopped being made. Number 7. Ithaca. Ask any old bird hunter about the Ithaca Model 37 and watch his face change. It was a pump shotgun that loaded and ejected from the bottom, so it worked for a right-handed man and a left-handed man exactly the same. It was tough, smooth, and beloved. But the company behind it could not find steady ground. Ithaca went through bankruptcy after bankruptcy, owner after owner. The gun was a classic. The business was a shipwreck. Here is where the story turns. Everything so far died the slow way. A fading name, a quiet bankruptcy, a great gun that simply stopped. But the biggest names in American history did not die quietly. They died loud, and recently, and in ways that made the news. And before we get to those, one of these just made you think of a specific gun. One in your family, one in your safe, one your father handed you. Tell me in the comments which name is on it, and who it belonged to first. Number 6. L.C. Smith. the name every double gun man says with respect. The L.C. Smith was one of the great American side-by-side shotguns, the kind of gun built when a shotgun was a work of art. But the same disease took it. The market for expensive, hand-fitted doubles dried up. The name was sold, passed around, and slowly buried. The craft that built it does not really exist in America anymore. Number 5. Harrington and Richardson. H&R, the working man's gun. If you could not afford a Winchester, you bought an H&R, and it never let you down. A single-shot shotgun, a cheap, honest revolver, a gun for the man who had one gun. For over a century, they armed the Americans that nobody else bothered to sell to. H&R ended up swallowed into the giant Remington Group, and when that giant fell, H&R fell with it. The people's gunmaker was just gone. Number 4. Marlin. Now, it gets personal for a lot of you. Marlin made the lever gun and the .22 that taught half of rural America how to shoot. Marlin was pulled into the same Remington empire as H&R. And in 2020, when Remington collapsed, the Marlin factory went dark. For a while, it looked like the end. Then something rare happened. Ruger bought the name and the machines and brought Marlin back. So this is the one that died and returned. But make no mistake, the old Marlin, the company your grandfather knew, still died. What came back wears the name. Number 3. Colt. The most famous name in American guns. The Peacemaker. The revolver that is practically the symbol of the Old West itself. The sidearm of the American soldier for generations. And yet, Colt lost its way. Police departments switched to cheaper, lighter pistols. The military contracts thinned. In 2015, Colt filed for bankruptcy. Then, in 2021, the ultimate irony. Colt, the most American gun company that ever existed, was bought by a firearms company from the Czech Republic for $220 million. The gun that won the West is now owned overseas. Number 2. Remington, the oldest. Founded in 1816 in Ilion, New York, Remington made guns before the telephone, before the light bulb, before the Civil War. For over 200 years, generations of one town built rifles in the same place. And in 2020, it ended. Remington collapsed into bankruptcy and was carved apart. The brands were auctioned off to the highest bidders and scattered to the winds. The oldest gun maker in America, a company that survived every war the country ever fought, was sold off in pieces. And a few years later, the great old factory in Ilion shut its doors. Number 1. Winchester, the gun that won the West. There is no more American sentence than that. For 140 years, Winchester rifles poured out of the factory in New Haven, Connecticut, the Model 94, the gun of cowboys and soldiers in every deer camp in America. And on March 31st, 2006, it stopped. The New Haven plant closed its doors after a century and a half. The machines that made the Model 94 went silent. The name still exists, but it was sold overseas, and today a gun that says Winchester on the barrel is most likely made in Japan. The factory in New Haven is apartments now. So here is the truth about every name on this list. These companies armed America through the winning of the West and through 2 world wars. They put the first gun in a boy's hands and the last gun on an old man's wall. And one by one, the lights went out. The factories fell silent. The names were buried, or sold, or shipped overseas. The guns are still here, in your safe, over your mantle, in the back of a closet. They outlived the men who made them and the companies whose names they carry. And when you hold one now, you are holding something from an America that does not build it anymore. If one of these names is on a gun in your family, tell me which one in the comments. And if you want more of the things America grew up with, stay with us. There are plenty more where these came from.